the hoodie you were wearing in the episode had a white supremacy logo. And I'm like, that's clearly not the case. It was a gift. It was a hoodie that was given to me that had Viking symbols on it. But this person with 3 followers on Twitter at the time sent that tweet out, and it red alerted A&E, which then red alerted Disney. And so then they had to ask me questions. First 3 months of 2023, go look at my YouTube channel, go look at my podcast. There's nothing. I sat at my desk staring into an abyss going, did I just kill my business?
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. So we have RJ Bates III with Titanium, and he flew in from Fort Worth, Texas to talk about how they did 125 contracts in 50 days. Guys on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on the show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you'll take consistent action, you will become one. And guys, if you get value today, please subscribe, share this with a friend. That way we can all grow together so that I can help create more millionaires. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so it's been quite some time, over 2 years since you last been on the show. A lot's going on.
Yep.
So I think first and foremost, let's talk about these obnoxious belts.
Yeah, well, these are earned, okay? Some people are confused, okay?
Yeah.
Some people think that I actually made these myself.
That's fair.
Okay? I did not pay for these. I did not have these made. These were won for the Closers Olympics. That was the first one, 2021. This is the one, 2023. And then they were running buy one, get one free sale. So I had
some BOGO.
Yeah.
Where's the 2020 belt?
That one is sitting in the all-in office, right where Carlos paid for it to sit.
So it was a remarkable run, right? So first year, me, you, Steven Morales got screwed. We were clearly the 3 best, right?
Yes.
Second year, you went all the way.
Yep.
And there were some questions, there were some comments. I included in making these comments.
Okay.
In that, RJ's style is not replicatable,
Yep.
right? You can't repeat this.
Yep.
RJ can do it, right? I mean, I remember the first year, it's like, look me up. RJ Bates III, Dallas, Texas, right?
Yeah,
over
yeah.
and over again. It's like, well, who else can say that?
Right.
But then you did it again in the third year, right? So you won 2 belts back to back, and then now you're teaching people
Yep.
how to do this. So I guess perhaps I might have been mistaken in that this can't be repeatable.
I don't think you were mistaken when you said it. The style that I used in 2021, yeah, I mean, I couldn't, hey, just Google my name, look me up,
Just tell them that you're RJ Bates III.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, funny enough, we did have someone do that, and I had to tell them, stop using my name. Yeah, that's not okay. But listen, over the years, there was a lot of more calls, right? A lot of refining my skills. And I have to say, you saying that did irritate me a little bit, because it was well, how am I ever supposed to take this to the level where I want to be training people, where I want to train my team, right? I started looking internally and saying, maybe I'm able to close at these KPIs, but if I can't ever work myself out of the seat, how am I going to live the life that I want, right? How am I going to achieve the vision that I have with what we're trying to accomplish with changing other people's lives? Like you talk about your vision of creating 100 millionaires. The reason why I've had my podcast since 2017 is because I want to change people's lives with real estate investing. How can I do that if literally people like you are saying, and it was a good point, you can't replicate what you're doing. So there was a lot that had to change. And then also the reality of it is between 2020 and 2021, I was still pretty green when it came to closing deals. I'm a business owner. I'm not an acquisitions person. It's like you were talking about when you competed in 2020. When was the last time you had talked to a seller over the phone?
I hadn't talked to a real seller in over a year and a half before the Closers Olympics.
Right. And then we're hopping on, and then people are judging us based off of that. And, it's we're not actual closers per se on a daily basis. So me spending more time on the phones and actually developing a system for that has completely changed now.
Right. And so it was Closers Olympics 2020 and then 50 deals.
Yeah. So we did the Closers Olympics. And then from there, I got warmed up and was like, hey, I like talking on the phone with sellers and this live camera stuff. Also, I have to give a lot of credit. I read the book Relentless based off of Aaron Bevan's recommendation. And when I read that and Tim Grover outlining what a cleaner was and how Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were like, hey, if things aren't going right, give me the damn ball. I'm going to go win the game. And I was like, things are not going right in my business. Like, but I'm a cleaner. Mm-hmm. So that's what inspired the first 50-day challenge was, hey, give me the damn ball. I'm going to go fix this. And it did. It completely changed our business from 2020 basically till the end of 2022 was the SOPs, everything that we were doing was based off of that 50-day challenge.
Yeah.
And then that's when you saw more refined skills in 2021 Closers Olympics. And then 2022, I don't have the belt with me, but it was the Wholesaling Live Challenge where Uncle Charles, Michael Giannis out of San Antonio, they decided they wanted to do Closers Olympics live on stage in front of 500 people. Now, that was insanity. You think Closers Olympics is crazy? Like, they had us on speakerphone holding our phones up to microphones in front of 500 people with an MC running around screaming. I'm having a seller like, what's happening? Oh, I'm at a real estate event. Just trying to buy your house right now. But I got a signed contract there in 16 minutes. And that was probably the moment where it was like, okay, this is real now. It wasn't people could say it was a fluke in 2021, right? But when I did that in 2022, it was like, okay, that elevated the brand a little bit.
And then you did 50 days again.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it here in a little bit. There was an event that happened late 2022, early 2023, kind of derailed our business a little bit, you know. I was emotionally like distraught from it. Like, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? You know, I felt kind of lost in the business a little bit. And someone said, hey, why don't you do one of those challenges again? And me and Cassie didn't even really think about it for probably longer than 2 weeks. We started, it was like, hey, let's do it again. Let's give me the damn ball. Let's make changes. We worked on the marketing for it, everything over about 2 weeks, and then just started going live. We didn't even really make an announcement. Just kind of made a little, hey, RJ's going live day one. And the big change there is outbound versus inbound leads. The first time we did it, it was all about texting, cold calling. This time it was all about inbound leads. And so 2023, we did another 50-day challenge, and again, completely changed our business and trajectory of where we're going.
Yeah. So that was prior to the last Closers Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
I actually made it go all the way up until the last day of the 50-day challenge was like the day before the Closers Olympics.
So what kind of fine tuning did you have at that point?
Dude, I was so locked and loaded. I actually felt bad for the competition. It was like, dude, I mean, I've literally been going live for 8 to 9 hours a day for 50 days straight.
Yeah.
Like, I just gotten 125 signed contracts in 50 days. I mean, it was like, literally when we did a random wheel on when we're supposed to go, and I got the worst spot, like the final spot on Saturday night. And I'll never forget, they came back to me and they were like, hey, the open run guys, we're going to put after you. So you can go like more towards like 3-4 o'clock on Saturday. And I was like, no, I don't need it. I don't want any controversy around this. I was like, I'll be fine. Yeah. And they were like, no, seriously, RJ, like you're like the defending champ. We don't want to make sure you have what happened to Keith Everett, right? 2020, he was going at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. No one was answering the phone. Right. And I said, I'm not worried about it. Just let's go. And that's how confident I was going into 2023.
But you had crazy confidence going into it. You felt like it was unfair to everyone else.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if anyone was paying attention, they knew you were doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like they didn't have the opportunity to keep up. It's like, you watch, what was it, the Redeem Team? Right? They're getting back from the club and they're drunk, whatever. And then they see Kobe in the elevator, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to practice.
Yeah.
Right? They're coming back drunk. He's going to practice.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you can either keep up with the competition or lose to the competition, but it's your choice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you bring that up because like I saw some people go live for a couple of days.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm putting in 50 days for 8-9 hours. You're going live 3 days for an hour. Do you really think that you stand a chance? Like, I mean, it's just, it's anything else that competitive. I mean, there would have had to have been something catastrophic happen for me not to win. That's how confident I was in it. And quite frankly, I think even as judges, y'all kind of felt that way as soon as the call started.
Mhm.
I'm on the phone. Like looking back at it now, y'all are kind of like, oh, this is a little different.
Mhm.
Confidence level, the way that the conversation's going, this is headed towards a close way faster than everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a level of professionalism, right?
Yeah.
And having a process. And that's something that, I noticed, unfortunately, a consistent theme is that not everyone has a process. And like, it's totally nerdy, right?
Yeah.
Like following processes, like who wants to follow a process? But if you don't have a repeatable process, how can you know when you're deviating?
Yeah.
You're just going off in this other direction, and like you're letting this seller just take you completely off the path.
Yeah.
And they're just like going with it. And for me, it's just so painful.
But dude, go look at my Saturday night close. It is with the crazy brother
Oh, I remember it.
who is cussing out his sister, not to me, not to her, but calling her every name in the book. What people might see is me cussing, me mirroring his tonality. But as far as inserting my process, I still checked all of the boxes.
Yeah, you didn't let him off the hook.
I mean, everything that I wanted to accomplish on that, inserting a couple of cuss words and talking with a little bit more of a Southern twang. I mean, to match him, I mean, that was easy.
Yeah.
But I was still doing everything that I wanted to accomplish in that conversation, even with one of the craziest sellers. I mean, you had the same thing in 2020 where you had a crazy seller. Yours was probably a little bit harder to check out the boxes, though.
I checked off a good amount of boxes. The only thing was that I go back, right? Like I couldn't say the things I wanted to say with 1,000 people watching it live.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some things that you just have to be like,
Right? Like there's some things that are best implied.
Not everyone wants to get canceled like RJ.
Yeah. So sales are becoming more difficult in this market. You have more competition than ever before, and homeowners are less willing to work with you on price. More and more leads are coming to you that have listed their home with a realtor already or are talking to a realtor. Because homeowners are pitting you against yourself, you feel like you have to pay more just so you have a chance. It doesn't have to be that way. Remember what it was like when you had little to no competition? What if you could connect with a homeowner and build so much trust that they feel like nobody can compete with you? Would you close more sales? That's why I wrote Active Listening 2.0. With our book, you can develop so much trust that the homeowner won't want to work with anybody else. If you want to copy my book, go to closemoresales.com/book and download it today.
Get canceled like RJ.
Yeah. So thinking about the process then, so I don't know, like, do you remember then? Like, what were those processes that you wanted to check each box with the, the crazy seller who hated his sister?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first thing I want to find out is do you have a house that you want to sell? Yep. How much do you want for it? I want to get that price right out of the gates.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want to understand the motivation. So open-ended questions. Tell me a little bit about what you got going on. I don't say about the property. I don't say about your life. I don't want to ask, how did you come up with that price? It's just, tell me a little bit about what you got going on. As soon as I start that triggers me starting the analysis of the property. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to start comping it, underwriting it, doing a Google Street View, seeing if this is property I want to buy while I'm listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a vague, open-ended question, it normally gets them talking 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with him. He was a talker. He wanted to tell me everything. So he gave me plenty of time. It was a great show, specifically because this is a competition. There's an entertainment aspect. So it's like the more I could get him talking and cussing up a storm and, just being who he was, the better. And I kind of just stayed out of the way. And so now I understand why he wants to sell. It was an inherited property. He was the executor of the estate. His sister's, batshit crazy, whatever. And he's got to get rid of this so he can cash out his 50% of the inheritance. What does that check off? Tons of motivation, right? Now all I need to figure out is was the price right? And the price was pretty close. So at that point, it's just go in for the close, make sure he feels comfortable with me. So that's why I always say build a reverse rapport. I just mean I build the rapport at the end. I know now this is a deal I'm willing to close. So I built the rapport there at the end with, talking about his sister and all of that, and then explain our process, and then just ask him if he would come down a little bit on price, and he did, and got the contract signed. Honestly, when you go back and you watch that specific close, I probably did less than like 4 minutes of talk time.
Right.
The entire close.
Yeah. The thing I remember the most, on top of him cussing out his sister, him yelling at his wife, like, what should we do? Was you busting open a 6-pack.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I remember from it, right? And like everyone that knows us from before Close Olympics, like is Steve going to judge RJ fairly? I think that was the question. It's like, in both ways. Yeah. Like, am I going to play favorites, or am I just going to be like unnecessarily mean?
Right.
Right. I thought I was pretty fair, but
I thought you were always pretty fair with everybody. I mean, I watched the entire day because I wanted to see what the competition looked like, and I enjoy it. I mean, it's a sport for me at this point, and I kind of feel like I run the thing. So I thought your feedback during the calls was invaluable for so many different people, because there were closable deals on Saturday that did not get closed.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a fact. And for me, it was hard to watch because I'm like, there was nerves setting in. I mean, whenever you have to watch something for 8 hours that you're going to compete in, and you're like, if that was my lead, I'm in the finals. Am I going to get that lead?
Right.
Because there were some guys that never got a lead. I mean, they just didn't get to move on because they didn't have an opportunity. Yeah. But most everybody had an opportunity.
Yeah, there were like 2 or 3 that were closable that didn't get closed. And I was like, this is just painful to watch. All right, so you won back-to-back, and then you go on to kind of a rebrand of sorts, right? So I see titanium baseball cap and King Closer t-shirt.
Yep. So that came from, we're both part of a mastermind, family mastermind. And I go, and I've always worn the titanium shirt, always worn the titanium hat. That's our brand. That's our company. And several people that I respect, our boy, CJ being one. I mean, what do you call him? You say he's the Suge Knight of marketing, right?
He's gonna be the next. He's gonna be the Suge Knight of our industry. He's gonna be publishing other influencers.
So okay, he came up and he had one of those hand on the shoulder conversations with me. He was like, "Hey, bro, see these? Someone else gave you these. You gave yourself the name Titanium. Other people gave you the name King Closer. That's your brand. You should run with that." And coming out of that, it was like, okay. And you literally had just made that Suge Knight comment to me. And I was like, I should probably be listening to this.
Yeah.
And then Robert Winsley, our other friend, who I think we both really respect for what he's done with Investor Lift, comes up. And I don't know if him and CJ had a conversation or what, but he was like, "Hey, dude, your brand's the King Closer. Like, you need to change it." He's like, "Make a shirt." And I was like, he's like, "Rebrand everything, King Closer." And so leaving from there, I was inspired by some of the speeches given at family, but I also looked at it like I always do. I mean, it's my personality. I'm a cleaner. I saw other people get up there, talk about what they were doing with their education companies, how much growth that they had over the years. And I'm like, we can beat them. We actually do this business. I mean, some people were literally talking about, like, the last time we did real estate was like 4 years ago, but now we're in this. And it's like, we're still in the business. We're passionate about this. And so we decided, okay, RJ's the King Closer. This is the brand that has been given to us by the people, by the industry. Of course, we're still Titanium because that's our company, but King Closer, that's who I am. And it's something that I earned through these competitions. And listen, people can laugh about the competitions all they want, but I mean, it's not easy having a 30-minute shot clock in front of you, and to be able to do that time and time again. I mean, I am proud of it. And it was funny. I think it was Naaman. Naaman told me at an event we were speaking at, he goes, "I'm so glad you won." And he genuinely meant it, because he said, if I had won, he said, you would have seen one picture with me wearing that belt. He said, but you winning it and the way your personality is, it's actually brought something to this. It means something. And it meant more to him because of how much I talk about it and how much I bring light to the competition and how hard this is. And how it's something that our industry does need to pay attention to. How do we talk to people? So yeah, man, it's King Closer is something that I'm proud to call myself, because it's not something that I just went out and said, hey, I'm the King Closer. It's something that I feel like I went out and earned.
Heard that every week.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure that here on Real Estate Disruptors, everybody knows.
Yeah, for those of you that don't watch the Pardon the Disruption and are only listening to Real Estate Disruptors, yeah, so this is the infamous RJ Bates.
We're approaching 1,000 days of me being the undisputed King Closer. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, again, for the record, right, in the very first Closers Olympics, I am the only one I know of that actually closed a deal that actually closed.
You did. You are the one that did that first year.
That first year. Yeah. Okay, so you got King Closer, then you got Titanium U. So what's the difference between King Closer and Titanium U?
So I'm King Closer. That's who I am. Titanium University, that is our community. That's where you can come learn everything that we're doing. We have the course. We also have the community Facebook group, as well as we do daily implementation calls with everybody inside of there. The King Closer is more of like the persona, the brand. There's not really anything behind that other than understanding what you're getting yourself into. Right. I mean, we're about closing deals. We want to stand out in that way. I always use the example of every time we bring in a new group of people to Titanium University, it's like, this is a community that is based around results and closing deals. And we are going to get you on the phones today, where there's no time to wait. I don't care about you messing up. I don't care about any of that. It's about, we're going to take action. So yeah, the King Closer is just that persona behind it.
And then what does someone get in joining the Titanium University?
I mean, listen, it's an ever evolving organic video course. I mean, as we change, last time I was here, it was all about texting, list pulling, right? Data. Now 3 years later, it's all about inbound leads. What's it going to be in 2027? So once you're in Titanium University, as we pivot, you'll always have access to that. It's a lifetime membership. And then those daily implementation calls. Like this morning, I spent an hour with the whole community, just answering questions, talking about, what I see going on inside the community, as well as what I see going on inside of our business. And then you have access to each other inside the Facebook group. Dude, I'm very proud of what we're creating right now.
Yeah, it's very impressive, because you and I, we've known each other for a long, long time.
Yes.
We've had all sorts of conversations, right?
I knew you when you had all of your hair.
So,
you never knew me with hair, so I can make that joke.
But I got to see, right, this transition of like, someone who started this 50 deals in 50 days in 50 states, right? To where now you have this brand, you have this following, and it's really, really cool to see. So you mentioned something about the difference in leads. So right now you're focused predominantly on inbound.
Yes.
Whereas before it was pulling a list and text blasting it.
Yep.
Obviously that had to change.
Yes, it had to.
Right. But like, what are you doing right now for inbound?
Yeah. So a lot of PPL, pay per lead, Lead Zolo, speed to lead, property leads. Those are the three main providers. And the difference, legitimately, the first 50-day challenge, if you go look at my face on day one, and then see my face at the end of day 50.
It's like, is it like Obama when he left the
Yes.
office?
I looked like I ran like I was dead.
8 years in the office?
Yes. I mean, I am drained of everything. You go look at this 2023 run, I look more refreshed at the end of the 50 days because it was like enjoyable. You know, I mean, it was like, hey, all day, every day. Not every day. I mean, there was days where things didn't
So you
go
weren't
well.
getting chewed out.
Well, how'd you get my number? Why would you think I'm selling my house? You know, all of that. What's an absentee owner? You know, I mean.
Did you ever do the text blasting before, like all the text blasting campaigns?
Yeah.
Did you ever get some inappropriate photos?
Yeah. There's one on my YouTube channel. Dude, most of the original 50-day challenge has been taken down. Okay, because I was sharing my screen. I mean, it had addresses, phone numbers, names, everything, right? So, like, about once every 2 months, YouTube will take one of the videos down.
Yeah.
The one that still exists was, and I mean, it is right there. Just dude responds on all his glory, not his glory, someone else's glory. And that one still hasn't been taken down. And the worst part about it is it's like, I didn't know it was there, so I shared my screen, and the response had just popped up, and it exists for probably 10, 12 seconds, and then I was like, oh my God, I bring it out. But yes, texting, there was a lot of very inappropriate things.
Yeah, well, I'm just sharing that for some of the people that haven't been around as long. They might have missed that opportunity to really get to know their clientele.
If you really want to know how bad texting was, just go back to my TikTok and just scroll as fast as you can until you get to the beginning. And then just listen to about 10 or 12 of the old TikToks, and then you'll realize how bad texting was, where I'm just getting cussed out left and right.
So you did better with the inbound. So PPL. Who do you like for PPL?
Lead Zolo, speed to lead, and property leads.
Yeah. I think property leads is going to be here next week. Okay, so inbound, easier than outbound.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's easier on your heart, right? I mean, like, it's stress levels, right? But it does cost more money. So there is a stress level that some people have when it's like, okay, I invested $5,000 in the leads. I need to see that return. They start stressing out about this person hasn't answered. That person wanted full retail. Whereas if you're texting, it was so inexpensive to, pull data and skip trace it. So there's a different level of stress that comes along with the PPL. I think sometimes we don't talk about that because it's like, yeah, PPL is amazing and I closed 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 7. That's not the case. I mean, I was talking to someone in our community today, and she's like, I've spent, a couple of $1,000s and I still haven't gotten a deal under contract yet. Is it me? But then we started breaking it down, and it's like, well, she has sent contracts, but she hasn't gotten them signed yet. Maybe there's an issue there with the closing process and how, it's better, but it's just new problems.
But now this makes sense when we were doing part of the disruption, how angry you would get at us about cold calling.
Yeah, cold calling sucks.
You want to take a moment to share your thoughts on cold calling?
Yeah, I do not think that people should cut their teeth with cold calling. You do.
Right.
Why?
Because I think that in sales, the best way to get good is reps.
It's not a rep.
It's a rep. You're getting...
No, a dial is not a rep.
You might look at, even if it isn't a rep, right? A dial is not a rep, but a human interaction is a rep. It may not be the highest quality rep, but it's a rep.
Let me tell you, all those reps I got in 2020 where people were saying, how'd you get my information? Why would you text my wife?
You still got deals.
Yeah, but that didn't help me.
Look, so, maybe I shouldn't say this on a podcast, right? So like 2 of my favorite people to hire, right? What's it called when you're when you turn your life around? Criminal, rehabilitated.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Rehabilitated drug dealers that never got in trouble. Right.
Okay.
They're pretty good at talking to people, and they're resourceful. The other one, people that go door to door to sell religion, because they've got reps. Okay. Right? They've had the door slammed in their face countless times.
I hear you. But you do not need to get your teeth kicked in to be successful at closing deals. Here's the thing. The reason why that we're saying this is because when people got started in 2015, 2016, what were their options for marketing? Cold calling, direct mail.
Door knocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. Things have gotten better. We're not leveraging the technology that exists nowadays.
So maybe I'm biased. You know do you even know what one of my first jobs was out of high school?
Cold calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
look how you turned out.
Pretty damn good on the phones.
I mean, sure. I don't see your belts up here, but
I couldn't afford to buy those belts. But anyway, so PPL, you enjoy those. They're a lot less stressful than doing the outbound. So since you came onto this show, you've been canceled not once but twice. Right?
Yeah.
So pardon the disruption.
Yeah.
You got canceled. What happened?
I did a podcast with you. That's what happened.
So let's talk about PTD, right? So maybe not everyone here knows the whole story.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't watch the very last episode, you may not catch the whole story.
Right.
All right. So we started Pardon the Disruption. And I shared this with you just now. You may not have known this, right? So we started Pardon the Disruption. We're like, let's do a show where it's a bunch of trash talking, because I've got this theory that the better you are at trash talking, the better you are at closing.
Yep.
Right. I still believe this to be true.
Yeah. Me too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let's say, okay, we have RJ had a hell of a time when we started the trash talking during Closes Olympics, because Keith said, let's turn this into WE.
Thank you. Finally, someone else says it besides me.
Yeah. Keith said it on a call.
Yes.
And you were like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Me, I was like, okay.
That sounds fun.
This is going to be great.
Right.
And a side of me came out that no one else had ever seen before, right? Because that's always been like my private side. Like I'll talk trash in private areas, but never like outwardly. So when Keith said, let's talk trash, I was like, all right, Keith, I'm calling you out. And I posted that, and he was like,
yeah.
Why?
Dude, what's funny about that is Keith was the one that said it.
Yeah.
I have trash talked Keith probably like 10 times online, and he never says anything back.
Yeah.
It's always like, man, like at least counter something, anything.
Yeah.
No, dude, the trash talk back then was awesome. And then when you reached out to me about Pardon the Disruption, and you were like, I want to do a podcast where we keep the trash talk, but it's also informative.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And then you were like, and I got Chris Jefferson, and I knew CJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's awesome. And then you're like, and I got Eric Brewer, and I'm like, oh. I didn't know Eric.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I'm a little bit worried about this guy I don't know that you're bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, that dude has had some of the most savage roasts. He roasted me more than anyone, I swear. Yeah. Well, he might have gotten you.
He got me quite a bit. But yeah, like, and I still remember before meeting Eric face to face, right? Before I got into Collective Genius. Like, I remember seeing him on Facebook. I was like, who is this guy that does these like hundreds and hundreds of deals year in, year out? He's got to be like this beast.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a goofball, just like the rest of us.
I've never gotten to meet him live.
Yeah.
Because every time I go anywhere, he doesn't show up. I think he's afraid to meet me in person.
He could be. But part of the inspiration as well was not just the trash talking, but the last time you were here for a podcast, right? Because you had won the Closes Olympics. And then you and I, you came in to talk about winning the belt.
Yep.
And you and your Bengals gear or whatever. And my colleagues in the office were like, Steve, that was like a very different podcast.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't just educational. There was like this energy.
Yeah. And
so, again, that was kind of like the birth. PTD is like, well, we have that camaraderie. We have the trash talking. Let's do this. So it was a lot of fun. We got to educate. And we got to entertain. Fortunately, the downloads did not line up with how much fun we were having.
Agreed. But the other thing is listen, we did it for what, a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Close to 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, some point in time, it's like, all right, we did that. Like, let's change it up. We're still gonna do stuff together.
Right.
We kind of probably jumped the gun there about, hey, we're just gonna take a week off and then RJ's gonna carry the torch. But we're still gonna do stuff together because I think the energy is there. Everyone that watched Pardon the Disruption, I mean, I've gotten more feedback from that probably than anything else I've ever done. Where it's like, dude, PTD, awesome. You guys, everyone says they watch every episode. And I'm like, you guys know that we can see how many. You guys aren't watching every episode. I don't know if you know this, but we do it on a weekly basis. But I loved it, man. I said it all the time. It was one of the most fun days I've ever done.
It was a lot of fun for myself as well. And my coach actually called me out, and she's like we're in the middle of a coaching call, and she's like, it's Amanda Dean, right? If you guys are wondering, middle of a coaching call. She's like, wait, I forgot. Stop it right here real quick. You canceled PTD.
Yeah. She was mad at you.
She was upset.
Did she fix it, or are you bringing it back?
No. I explained to her. It's like my focus right now. We're going to talk to this a little bit about marketing here.
Yeah.
Like my focus has shifted quite a bit as far as marketing goes. But the other one, like that's the funny one, right?
Yeah.
But the sad one,
Yeah.
A&E.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much you can talk about it, but that was.
Oh, dude, I'll tell the whole thing now.
You spent countless weeks going back and forth with a homeowner only to lose a deal because the seller changed their mind, another wholesaler made an unreasonable offer, or what the seller needs from the sale, you just can't pay. Now imagine you've got the ultimate control on a property that you just locked up, meaning you're on title and every decision has to go through you, eliminating virtually every external threat. That's why the installment method was created. Through installment payments, you have full control of the property as your name is now on the title. Any decision the seller wants to make now has to be approved by you. No longer can they pull out equity, go with another buyer, or change their mind. Imagine combining the best of creative finance with the flexibility of marketing the property on the MLS to collect the most amount of revenue possible, all while having total control of the property. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The concept here is simple, but implementing is challenging. So visit wholesale2024.com to learn more so that you'll never have another deal blow up.
I mean, I don't really care. It was crazy. I mean, to have Pilgrim Media reach out to us and say, hey, we want you to be on Zombie House Flipping on A&E, an established show. This is going to be the 5th season. It had always been in Orlando. And so they were like, the new idea is there's going to be a team in Tampa, Orlando, Dallas, and Fort Worth. And you guys will have a run of like 5 episodes, and then we'll go to the next team for 5 episodes. And then that way we keep the show running basically year round. And it was awesome. I mean, we were super excited to do it. Once we made the decision to do it, there was some apprehension at first, especially for me. I was like, I am who I am. If you want me to be scripted, like I can't even do a script on my calls with sellers. It's not gonna happen. And they were like, no, the hilarious part about me being canceled is the reason why they reached out to us is because they called Brent Daniels and asked Brent to do it. And Brent said, I don't want to do it. And then they found out Brent lived in Arizona, and they were like, well, we don't want to go west of Texas. And Brent said, Texas, you seen RJ? And he was like, go check out RJ's YouTube channel. So they went and watched my YouTube channel and said, that's the guy we want. That personality.
That personality is uncancelable.
Right. So what they got, they canceled, even though that's what they wanted. So, we were in the middle of flipping, I couldn't show up to Pardon the Disruption a lot because of the amount of flips we had going on. We were in the middle of flipping, 10 houses at once. We had completed multiple episodes. We got the honor of being the season premiere of all the teams. So that was like a big deal. They looked at the footage and they said, hey, Fort Worth is going to be the season premiere. And it aired December 3rd, 2022, and feedback was amazing from everyone at A&E and Pilgrim Media. And, some people said it was good. Some people on social media said it sucked. I got the Twitter, where it's like, who put this fat guy? Yeah. Who decided to go get a big white guy with a big beard that's fat to be on TV? I saw some of that and it was like, okay, this is the reality of being on TV. And I was like, all right, this is what I expected. Like, this is going to be the new norm for us. And the middle of that week, second episode's coming out on Saturday. I get a call from the executive producer, and she said, there's a tweet from a gentleman that says that the hoodie you were wearing in the episode had a white supremacy logo. And I'm like, that's clearly not the case. It was a gift. It was a hoodie that was given to me that had Viking symbols on it. And the symbol is a Vout nut, which is a very common Viking symbol. It's on almost everything Viking related. But this person with 3 followers on Twitter at the time sent that tweet out, and it red alerted A&E, which then red alerted Disney. And so then they had to ask me questions. They wanted to know, was my name really RJ Bates III? Why did I name my son Trinity? Why did my contractor put a Roman numeral 3 on one of the projects? And she was doing it as like a symbol, like, hey, I did this for you because you flipped this house and you did such a great job. I put a Roman numeral 3 on this back deck. And they thought that was me showing that I was a part of the 3%ers, which I guess is a white supremacy group.
Oh, didn't know that.
And me either. Then when they told me that, I was like, can you explain what this is? What group did I join? And they asked me those questions. I told them the truth. The next Saturday, I mean, there was no concern about us being like canceled over this. This was kind of like, hey, we're just asking.
On our eyes, crossing our T's.
Yeah. Okay, we're all good. The next Saturday, my son had a hockey game at 10:30. The episode's supposed to air at 10. So I'm walking around outside the building with it on my cell phone, and a rerun of Orlando from the season before airs when our second episode is supposed to air. And so I start texting people like, hey, what's up? And then I start getting texts from like the contractors and vendors that were supposed to be, featured on that episode. Like, what happened? Where's our episode?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. I got that sinking feeling like, oh, this is not good. Yeah. And 2-3 hours later, me and my son are driving in the car, and I got the call, you've been canceled. We don't know why. We'll have answers for you on Monday. So Saturday, Sunday, I have to go with no answers. That Monday, everybody on our team, every single person lost their job. I had to see people pack up out of their apartments.
Oh, what, like the media team?
Yes.
People that work on the show.
Every single person. I mean, cameramen. The cameramen that were our team were the original cameramen of Zombie House Flip, and they had moved from Orlando to Florida, moved there or to Fort Worth, had moved their entire families. I mean, they were fired. You have no job now. I mean, it was ruthless over a harmless hoodie that meant nothing.
Or over an idiot tweet.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is, because the hoodie itself means nothing. The symbol is not racist in nature. I'm not racist. There's no proof of that. And basically what I've been told is it went to one attorney at Disney, and he basically said, how many episodes have we aired of this guy? 1. Just pull the plug.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Because like you said, the consequences, right? Because I didn't even think about like their team. I'm just thinking about you, your debt, and your contractors, your hard money loans, and all these other things. Like it's a setback for you and your operations. You just stopped everything to focus on this. But yeah, there were a whole bunch of other people that got.
Oh, dude, and they paid a lot of money to fire us because like there was trade outs. So like for example, hey, you will mention Steve Trang flooring. If Steve Trang will donate $10,000 worth of flooring to this house. And so the flooring company says, absolutely, I'll do this to be on A&E over and over and over again, because this is the whole thing about these shows. They just keep getting aired over and over. And then the episode doesn't air. So now you're coming to me going, you need to pay my $10,000.
Right.
Well, A&E just took care of it. They stroked a check for every single person. They paid us for every single episode that we filmed.
Yeah.
To not be aired. I mean, over nothing. And the most disappointing part for me was, one, the people getting fired over something that I felt responsible for. Even though I shouldn't feel the responsibility of wearing it, but that's still, every day that I filmed, I wore a black t-shirt that said Titanium, except for one. That one day was my birthday. I wore the Viking hoodie because it was a gift that was given to me. And it only made the scene for like 3 seconds. And it was because they showed the back of it because we did floor to ceiling marble on the fireplace. So they wanted to get a cool angle of me looking up the floor to ceiling. And that's when it showed. It bothered me that so many people's lives were impacted by it. And then the next thing that really bothered me was the fact that I had to explain to so many people what happened. And no matter what, when you look at someone and say, I got fired, I got canceled, then the immediate question is why? Mm-hmm. And it's not like me. I have to say why. Mm-hmm. And that's why Cassie always gives me a hard time. She's like, stop talking about you being a white supremacist. Stop saying that, you got fired for being racist. And it's like, but that's what they said. It's not true. But I think a lot of times we want to run from that. And the first couple of months, man, I mean, it impacted me. I mean, right. I probably, first 3 months of 2023, go look at my YouTube channel, go look at my podcast. There's nothing. I sat at my desk staring into a abyss going, did I just kill my business? Because, dude, the moment this happened, our team, people started quitting. I mean.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, was it an icky situation, I mean, imagine if you're a black guy that works for me and I come in and I say, I got fired because I wore this hoodie and it was a white supremacist logo. And then you go home and you have to tell your wife why your boss got fired. I mean, suddenly it starts like, and then business is not doing good because like I'm not being proactive. Cassie's not being like, dude, we were like emotionally like distraught. And then also we had all these houses that we had to finish flipping that were supposed to be for the show. So not super profitable because you're basically over rehabbing them. I mean, there was a lot of negative energy in the building. Even though we were trying to like keep it going, it was a full reboot of like everything. A lot of people left. The ones that stayed didn't surprise me. The ones that left didn't surprise me. But also just me and Cassie had to hit a reset button on like up here on how we were going to overcome that.
And I remember you shared with me when it went down, and I was pretty upset about it as well.
Yeah.
And I went to the team. I was like, hey, I'm going to record a video. You remember what I was talking about?
Yes.
Right? I'm going to talk about how I'm a white supremacist.
Yes.
Like, Steve, we will not support you in this venture. Right?
Yeah, you were like, you said that, and I was like, bro, I love you, but I don't know if this is the right move. I don't know if you should do this or not. I freely talk about it now. I mean, when it first happened, I got told by a lot of people like, hey, keep it under wraps. You don't want Disney coming after you. But at this point, I think everyone needs to know why it happened. I mean, like we just were hanging out with Dolmar and Keisha, and they were like, we still get people asking what happened to the Fort Worth team. And I'm like, oh, we got canceled. Like, hey, let them know. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I think Jamil had the best perspective out of anyone. He said, what does being on TV do for you? It gives you the opportunity to build your brand by saying you're on TV. You were on TV. No one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah.
He goes, In fact, you probably got the better end of this. You got one episode and then you're done. And like, move on with your life. He's like, you could be like me where you just have to do it over and over and over again. And I will say there was a part of me that really enjoyed it though. I mean, it was like a new creative side. I mean, you create a lot of content. It was like, once I figured out how much goes into it and creating it, like me and the executive producer were really like clicking on finding new ways to bring energy to a show. So I missed that. And there were some really funny moments that'll never be seen. I wish they would just release it. Like, come on, let us see it. But yeah.
So now you can officially put the As Seen on TV.
Yeah.
On your postcards.
It's on my song.
Is it?
Yeah. Have you heard the song?
I have not heard your song.
You have not heard The King Closer?
No.
Did you know that I released a song?
No.
Well, let's let the world know. As of May 3rd, 2024, if you go on to Spotify, Apple Music, you search The King Closer, there's going to be a song, RJ Bates III and the Dropout Kings. That's it's my official song. It's my first ever single.
All right. Maybe I'll download it. We'll see.
It ends with explicit word as seen on TV.
There you go. But looping this all back.
Yep.
You were saying there was something that happened that made the second 50 event more impactful.
Yeah. I mean, it was this. I mean, it was getting canceled, sitting there and trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do now? Like, we had a 5-season contract.
Oh, it was 5 seasons.
5 seasons, 100 episodes. Like, that's where we were going. Like, we were going to go flip 100 houses, 100 episodes. This was going to build the brand. This is what we're going to do. And it gets yanked out from underneath you. And then the moment it gets yanked out from underneath you, you feel everyone that's followed you that was super pumped about that moment start going, And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. So I'm out.
Yeah.
And it's like, so not only are things not going well, but everything's falling apart. And so looking back at, someone finally came to me and they said, hey, why don't you do what you did in 2020? Do another 50-day challenge. And so, yeah, that's what inspired it. And it was just the moment that I went live on the first 50-day challenge, the second 50-day challenge, first dial, signed contract. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We're back. And next 50 days, I mean, 125 contracts, so many people showing up every single day, and then implementing the same things that they were watching me do inside of their business. And we made it a lot more fun this time. Like, we had Cassie involved. Like, I still found time to, like, step away from the live. She would take over. I'd go do PTD with you guys. It was just a lot more. It gave us the energy to get back into where we needed to be. And it's like, as much as I hate how it went down and the impact it had on other people's lives, the fact that we're not on TV is like one of the best things that could have happened to us.
Yeah. And as a result, we got to see Be a Legend, not a Lady.
Yes. The greatest poster in PTD history, with me having Be a Lady, or Be a Legend, not a lady. Wait, Be a Lady, not a legend?
It was something along those lines, but yeah, we got to see that poster in PTD over and over again, over RJ's shoulder.
With the wooden walls.
Yeah, with the serial killer walls. So, all right, so then the second run at 50 days.
Yep.
125 contracts. It kind of sounds unbelievable.
It's all live on YouTube, baby.
So we kind of touched on it. We kind of danced around it, like the sales skills and the inbound versus outbound. But someone listening today, right? I want to do 125 contracts. Let's forget 125. I want to do 50 contracts in 50 days. Let's be reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. So step one, what am I doing here?
Well, step one, you have to have lead generation, right? I mean, for me, what I had running was Lead Zolo, Speed to Lead, and I had 4 VAs cold calling data. So all the data that I had accumulated over, the past 4 or 5 years, still want that touched. I still want that being called. So those VAs were pumping me cold call leads. I would go into speed the lead. I would buy the leads there where people could see why I was choosing, what leads I was choosing. And then I had Lead Zolo coming in. And the crazy thing about it is those were the 3 sources going into the challenge. But out of the 125 signed contracts, 13 of them came from TikTok, Instagram, and my YouTubes being live.
Mm-hmm.
So sellers watching TikTok or Instagram and seeing me talk to other sellers and saying, well, sure, why don't you buy my house too?
Mm-hmm.
That one blew my mind where it was like, okay, so what is that, like 11, 12% of our contracts came from social media? That was unexpected.
Yeah.
But it starts with lead generation, and then from there it goes to your closing skills, and your comping and underwriting skills. Like, you need to know what a good deal is. Being full nationwide, there's a lot that goes into that. Understanding where an end buyer is going to buy in Florida in comparison to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
2 different numbers, right? 2 different types of buyers. And your closing skills. I mean, like, listen, anybody could go watch my lives and mirror what I do, right? But you have to have the ability to have that human-to-human interaction to solve their problem by buying their real estate. Like, that's, if you break it down to the simplest terms, that's what I'm doing. And then after that, it's transaction coordination and dispositions.
So inbound leads,
Yep.
and your 4 VAs cold calling.
Yep.
You got to get them on the phone.
Yep.
What CRM were you using?
So we started off, funny enough, you asked that. We wanted to make it as simple as possible for people to mirror. So when we were doing this, we were using a free version of Trello.
Okay.
So, and then we realized, okay, we can't do the free version because we need to zap in leads from Lead Zolo. So we actually got the paid version. It was like, I don't know, $49 a month or something like that. We were just zapping the leads in. And just
Trello.
Yep. No
And then-
automations.
So then you're calling from your cell phone.
Yeah. No, we have landlines at our office. So you can just call from yours.
Okay. So, but it's not like rocket science here.
No.
Right. No. So inbound lead goes to your email.
Yep.
It zaps into Trello.
Yep.
Pick up a landline
Yep.
and you call it.
That's it.
Not extraordinarily difficult.
And almost, I would say 60% of those signed contracts happen on one dial.
Yeah. So at that point, then it's sales skills and then transaction coordinating.
Yeah.
Sales skills we're going to talk to about in a moment. Transaction coordinating, who was handling that?
So we have an in-house TC that we use, but I suggest at this point everyone should just hire David Olds. I mean, there's literally no reason not to, because he's $325 on average per deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
extraordinarily cheap.
Yeah, and do you know, I hate this more than anything, because with all of the stuff that I have done in my career, probably the number one question I get asked is what's a good title company in Jackson, Mississippi? What's a good title company in Birmingham, Alabama? And I'm like, this is what you need from me? Like, if you just hire David Olds, he just tells you which one to use.
Yeah.
Right? And then he knows what contracts to use, what language needs to be used. He handles all of that. We didn't have that option, so we hired internally, trained up. And I still think internally you need someone communicating with David Olds' company. So even if we were outsourcing that, but yeah, everybody listening should hire David Olds.
There you go. And then for everyone that needs to know how to get there,
your guy, Easy REI Closings, /Disruptors?
I assume it's Disruptors. I don't know. It's Easy REI Closing for sure, though.
Yeah.
So David Olds for TC. Underwriting, you mentioned a moment ago.
Yeah.
Underwriting is different in a tertiary city than in a metro area.
Yep.
So what are the main things to be looking out for?
So our process, as soon as we're on the phone with a seller, I'm going to take that address. I'm going to look it up on Google Street View. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm buying, right? Is this like in the middle of nowhere? Is it closer to a city? What is considered rural? What is considered a tertiary market? Because I've started seeing it now where this is like the new trend that we're moving into, where it was like, okay, everyone wants to talk about PPL leads. And then the problem with PPL is, well, you get leads in the middle of nowhere. And then all of a sudden I start seeing people saying the leads in the middle of nowhere are like top 10 markets. And it's like, okay, slow down. All right. You're not going to get leads in Phoenix, Arizona, and Dallas, Texas. Okay. That's just not going to happen. But Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that's a pretty good market. Okay. Like that's not tertiary. That's not rural. So we want to pay attention to that by going to Investor Lift, plugging in the city first and saying, how many buyers do we have in this city? Okay. If I have less than 2,000, then I'm going to go to the county. If I have more than 2,000 in the county, I'm closing the deal. That's plenty enough buyers to be able to see that. So I'm basing it on how many buyers do I have. Okay. If I have buyers, now I'm going to move into comping and underwriting the deal. And then the next problem people have with rural or tertiary is, well, what if I can't find comps? What I found amazing about this is how little effort people actually put into trying to find comps sometimes. It's like,
well, you have to be able to just push a button and get the answer.
Yeah, it's like I punched it into Privy or PropStream or whatever, and I couldn't find anything. And it's like, so the first things I always want to do is I want to expand distance. Okay, so I get anything on distance, and then I expand time, and then I flip flop it. So if I go back in time, then can I condense it down and can I see what's close to the property? And then if I expand out, I can go further out in time. The other thing about this is Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. A lot of times they show you a lot of things that maybe don't show up on PropStream or Privy in a actual rural area because they don't have the MLS access outside of the major city. So if you just go there, a lot of times you can see what properties are listed for, what they sold for. And again, you can be simple just by buying at extreme discount. I mean, you don't have to have an exact ARV. Like if you could see like this is a $250,000 and the seller's saying they'll sell it to you for 50. Like
lock it up.
We're good.
Yeah.
Send the contract. And you got 2,500 buyers. We're good. Send it.
So how are you disposing the deals?
Through Investor Lift, but I mean it takes work, right? This isn't like there's a misnomer that you swipe your card for Investor Lift and then you put it on there and you blast it out and it's just sold, right? That's not how Investor Lift works. I mean, it does require work involved, right? You have to have marketing skills when it comes to email blasts with the text blasts. And then I think you actually need sales skills when you're talking to the end buyers, right?
Yeah.
Explaining why it's a deal, right? And then actually getting in contact with them. There's so many wholesale deals out there that it's like, what stands out about your deal in comparison to the other 25 that they got in their email in the past hour?
Right.
Right. So we're actually cold calling a lot of buyers and getting them on the phone. And the other thing is once you dispo a deal in a location, build that relationship. Like that's your buyer. That's who you're going to go back to over and over and over again. So we don't do any bidding wars. It's first come, first serve at our price. So that's like a huge thing for us to enable us to be nationwide is that we do not want to create this icky feeling of like, you said 200,000, I'm ready to give you 200. And then we're like, but this guy said 205. Because that's how I feel like you burn bridges with those end buyers.
It's 100% how you burn bridges.
Well, you know that more than anybody here in Phoenix. I'm sure the bidding wars, in 2020, 2021 were just insanity.
Well, we definitely got the most we could
Yeah.
for the properties.
Well, I'm not just saying for you. I'm talking about just in general.
But I think you just have to go in there cognizant, right? Like I'm gonna be one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna try to get the most on every single deal, or I'm just gonna have a few relationships and that's it.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out which style works best for you.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're more in a relationship side, right?
Well, because we're nationwide too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to.
But,
I can't go try to find a new buyer every single time I get a deal in a random city in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's just different. There's pros and cons for each one, and really, I don't think there's like a one size fits all. It really just comes down to like which style works best for you as a business owner, for your dispo rep, right?
Do you want to be a New Western or a net worth? Right? These big box wholesalers where they create those bidding wars, and they know for a fact that the lifespan of their buyers is 1 to 3 deals, and then the majority of them are going to realize I can get better deals elsewhere. This deal actually existed from another wholesaler before New Western even got it.
Right. But New Western's doing a job of spreading the gospel.
Yep.
Right. Of like off-market properties.
Yeah.
So they're doing the hard work, finding the buyers for us.
Yeah.
And then we can sell it to them.
Right.
Usually once
but
they're
that's what I'm
investor
saying.
list.
Like they carved out their niche, and they're doing it better than anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not knocking what they do. I mean, they make a lot of money and they move a lot more deals than any of us.
Yeah. I mean,
but
just 1,000 or more every single month.
I mean, but it's a different type of business, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Again, I don't think there's a one size fits all. So looking at that, so that's a dispo. That's 125-ish contracts, right? 50 days.
125-ish.
69.2%.
69.2% of them closed.
So it's remarkable, right? So let's talk about the sales styles.
Yeah.
Right. Or a few different things. You've gotten a lot of flack, I don't know, for some reason, of being like this offer taker. Some people are saying this.
Look, I don't know who would say that. Just my closest friends.
So, but talk to me about this perspective.
Yep.
Like, we say it, right, in jest. But, like, I think some people believe that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What does that mean?
You know what? At first, it pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. At first, it was like, wow. Like, and then it kind of made me chuckle because I was like, well, maybe they're just missing the point. I not you guys. I know y'all were just joking. But there are other people where it's like, I mean, comments that I see on like videos and different things like that.
Really? There were people out there that thought you were legit? Like,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like there's legitimately people that are like, you didn't do anything in the entire call. And I'm like, you're starting to get the point. You want to see the $18,000 wire that I got for doing nothing?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you could do that?
Right.
Like, that's amazing. And it's embracing the fact that we're the buyer. Right. And the flow of the conversation, like the ideal close for me is Steve, do you want to sell? Yes. How much do you want for it? $100,000. What do you have going on? You tell me all this terrible pain and motivation. I keep asking questions. You now feel like we're buddies. And then you tell me, if you could just give me $85,000 because I've become your friend and your buddy and I'm asking really good questions and you feel a connection. And then I explain our process and I say, what's the best you could do for me if I cover all the closing costs? There's no realtor commissions. And you say $75,000. So through that, and I say, sounds good. What's your email? I'm an order taker. But really, I got you down $25,000.
Yeah.
And I didn't even try to negotiate.
So I think, so Ian Ross, he runs our Close More Sales podcast, right? He's our coach inside our sales community, salesdisruptors.com if you guys are curious. One of the things that he talks about is not seeing the seams of the sale.
Yeah.
Right? If you can see the sales happening, you're doing a bad job.
Yep.
You can't see the seams happening here when you do this,
Yep.
right? So it's kind of like officiating. Like if you can see the officials,
yeah,
man, it's a badly officiated game, right? So like the ideal officiated game is you're not aware the officials were in the game.
Yeah. It's not good that we all know Angel Hernandez's name. Like that just means he's the worst umpire in all Major League Baseball because he just keeps making mistakes.
Yeah. But you don't want to be known, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what people are missing, if they really believe that, right, just my perspective, is that you're getting them to negotiate against themselves.
Yep.
Because if you don't like the price, you just say, that's not going to work for me.
Yep.
And that's it. Right? It sounds like order taking. It sounds like it. But really, it's just, it's everything Chris Voss talks about.
Yep.
Right? It's like, yeah,
we need to hire 9 salespeople in the next 5 weeks. We launched our Done For You sales service just a month ago, and the demand for it has been absolutely crazy. We have all these people reaching out to us saying our sales service has been so helpful for them. Please get us more salespeople.
If you are in high ticket sales or looking to get into that space, if you want a calendar filled up with people raising their hand saying, call me at this time, please sell me, I want to be sold to by a highly experienced salesperson, we are looking for you to have that role. We want to take people who are good and make them great. People who want to be held accountable the same way Michael Jordan would want his coach to hold him accountable, to take him to that next level.
So if you want Ian Ross or myself to train you to get better at sales, if you want to be able to control your income, decide exactly how much money you make, and you want to work at a company where you're valued and appreciated, we encourage you, click the link below. However, we're only hiring superstars. If you're not A+ caliber, don't click below.
It's not going to
So
work.
I got told, I was talking to Brent Daniels, and he was talking about, inbound, outbound, and he was asking me a question about, well, could your style work cold calling? Yeah. Said, okay, so I call you. This is a cold call. Hey, Steve, just reaching out to see if you're interested in selling this property. Yes. Awesome. How much do you want for it? I don't know. You called me. How much are you willing to give me? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you were interested in selling. Do you want to take some time to think about it? Call me back when you have a price. If they're motivated, they're going to chase after you.
They're not going to let you leave.
They are going to chase after you.
Yeah.
If they let you go, guess what? You probably just saved yourself about 12 minutes
Right.
of trying to do something to convince them, which is why I say, even on cold calling, what is the purpose of cold calling? It's to find leads, right? With these inbound leads, we can be super hyper aggressive on it. You could do the exact same thing on inbound or outbound.
Yeah.
Like, it's just about your perspective, and are you willing to burn the bridge that fast? Because most people, you know what they tell me? RJ, I had to wait 30 minutes to get that seller on the phone. I'm like, so what? You're just going to waste another 15 just because you have someone on the phone?
Yeah.
For me, it's about, I just want to get the contract. So I'm going to burn that bridge and be hyper aggressive right there early on.
Yeah. Well, you're clear, right? And I think that's the confidence. Like, okay, well, this doesn't work for you. Okay, no big deal, right?
Yep.
But not needing the business is why they don't want you to leave, particularly if they have to sell.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't lead that offer taking attack against you.
No, I think you did with Eric.
Yeah.
I think you definitely led it for Eric. No, the comments have always been there.
Really?
Yeah, they've always been there. And I think it's partially because, think about it, man. There's so many people in this industry that have a script, or this is the way that you're supposed to close. I don't do anything that they say to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and in fact, I'm anti it. I mean, I'm like, don't place sellers on hold. Don't do the fake finance department. Don't do the underwriter. If you have an underwriter, that's fine. Do it. If you don't do that.
Right.
And I think that is what creates disdain in some of my comments, because they look at it and they don't believe in what I say, because maybe they did sign up for that program. Maybe they are using that script and it does work for them. I've never said it doesn't work. I'm just saying I think there's a better way to do it. And this is I have proof to back that up.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, and going back to judging, during the competition, like there's nothing that you did like, RJ's doing this wrong.
Yeah.
You've got your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Right? You've got RJ's personality on it, but all the same stuff. We prescribe and teach the same exact thing. It's just your personality.
I'm so glad you said that, because that is what everybody should be leaning into, is their own personality.
Yeah.
Like I've said that, like, don't try to be me on the phone, because it will come across very disingenuous, and it's like, it's not a good look. But if you're leaning into your own personality and you're leaning into them believing that they're truly talking to a person that cares about their problem and a person that can actually solve their real estate needs, that's who they want to do business with. And then everything else in between, it's going to work itself out,
Yeah. But again, we talked about it earlier. It sounds kind of nerdy, right? But having a process to follow and then adding your own flair to it later on. It's I played a lot of poker in my life, right?
Yep.
I was a
Me too.
failed professional poker player. But it was always interesting because like I get at the poker tables, I get addicted. So what do? I order all these books, right? David Sklansky, Mason Malmuth, all these books on how to play poker the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And once you learn the fundamentals and the principles, now you can have fun and add your personality to it.
Right.
But man, at the table, everyone wants to just add their personality to it, regardless of the math,
Yep.
regardless of the processes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what you're seeing here.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, man. Me and you both like different styles a little bit, but it's like you said, technically we're teaching the exact same thing when we talk about sales.
Teaching the same principles,
Yeah.
just how we apply it a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. But we also both played poker
Mhm.
a lot. Like I bought a car from online poker winnings. I mean, it was like that was a big. I wanted to be a professional poker player
Yeah.
too, and then I realized, when full tilt went full tilt. Then I started wondering, like, wait, was I winning because I was on the right side of the algorithm? Like, were they cheating for me?
Yeah.
But I do look at that. It's a lot. There is similarities with closing deals and playing poker,
Mhm.
where there's sometimes that we have to bluff a little bit.
Mhm.
There's also sometimes we just have to be like, no, fold, fold, fold.
Yeah,
This is the one I'm going all in. on.
that's true, right? Fold this hand, fold this. Like you're spending most of your time folding the hands.
Yes.
And you're spending most of the time hanging up this call. Like, this is not the call. This is not the call. Oh, we have a hand.
But who wins majority of poker tournaments? Majority of the time, it's either the person that gets uber lucky
Mhm.
and is playing super aggressive and they just go on a heater of luck,
Mhm.
or the person who folds over and over and is so strategic about when they decide to play
Mhm.
that next thing you know, you don't even think they've been playing, and you look over and it's like they're just stacked with chips. How did that happen?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how I want my business run. I don't
Yeah.
want to be the person slinging stuff around.
Trying to play every hand.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I'm glad we came up with the poker analogy during the show.
That's what I'm talking about.
So you mentioned underwriting.
Yeah.
You've been kind of on a bit of a tear about underwriting.
Listen, man, why do we have to lie about this stuff?
I don't know. I think we have to have this posture. We have to show that we're credible.
How does it make you credible? Why? Okay. When did we decide that being the shot caller, the decision maker, is a bad thing? What kind of pudding soft society are we? I mean, it's like we need to have the bad guy
Mhm.
behind closed doors.
Mhm.
So we can be the good guy when we have to tell them that we're not going to give you 200,000, we're only going to give you 175,000.
I am a fan of playing the higher authority game in negotiations, right? So if I say like, "Hey, RJ, look, that's more than I can get approved. What you're looking to get."
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I can, but if I can get that number approved, what would happen after that?
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling me like they're committed. Now I've cleared the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
I can step outside real quick and get in, and we get a signed contract, right?
Yep.
But that's just for me to get a clear commitment, knowing that there's nothing left, right? They're saying they're all in on this deal.
Here's the thing, though. Everything that took place up until that moment led you to that moment.
Yeah.
Like, you're leading yourself to that moment.
Right.
That's part of your process.
Mhm.
My thing is if we are constantly leading ourselves to, we need to be on hold for 3 minutes,
Mhm.
to then go talk to the fake finance department, to then come back to be on hold for 3 more minutes, to then come back to talk to I'm lost.
Mhm.
I've already closed the deal.
Right.
And we're spinning in circles in a conversation. I don't think it's what this industry is going down a path right now where regulations are coming after us. Realtors are going, I mean, basically it's pointing in a direction where over the next couple of years, to be a wholesaler, you're going to have to be licensed.
Or you have to buy the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wholesaler. So I'm saying, to be a wholesaler,
Yeah.
you're going to have to be licensed or buy the house, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that it's wise of us to continue to be pushing out all over social media that we are intentionally lying, manipulating, and making up stories to sellers, and then saying, but we have a place in the market because we help people. If you help people, why are you lying to people?
So I had a chance to talk to an owner of a major wholesaling operation who's had a chance to be in front of a judge, not once, but twice. And we have our, like, you know, the precedent says, this state says we can do it. This state says we can do that, right? We can just double close, all these things, right? And I was explaining to him all these things, right? And he said, just let me stop you right there. If a judge has to stop to understand what you just said, you lost.
Yep.
Like, damn. Like, it doesn't even matter
Facts.
what your position is, right? Because put yourself in the position of the judge who's dealing with case after case after case after case all day, every day. And this is just a job. He just wants to get through the day.
Yep.
Right. This is not a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
This is a guy who's sitting here who may have just had to deal with a situation where, you know, someone's trying to get out of, I don't know, a settlement, or they were a civil suit on like commissions, a civil suit on evictions, right? Collections, whatever. Like, he does not have the brain power to understand wholesaling, arbitrage,
Right.
double close.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And when we talk about this as an industry, like, we need to get back. What is being leveraged against us? Are we good for sellers? Do we have any ethics? There's no code of conduct for wholesalers, right? So why are they bringing regulations down on us? But essentially to try to eliminate us, to get us to go under the code of ethics and the fiduciary duties that realtors are held under.
Yeah, we're in the minority. Well, here's the thing, though. We could, I mean, if you look at the commercial real estate agents, they're still not under any kind of, right? Like, a realtor has a code of ethics.
That's where we're getting pushed to.
I know, but I'm saying, like, commercial real estate agents aren't regulated, so they got to figure.
That's what I'm saying. The direction we're headed is that even in single family real estate is getting pushed in the direction of what commercial agents are.
No, but commercial agents they can do whatever they want. There are no.
I know, but what I'm saying is what just happened with the NAR settlement, right? Buyers agents are no longer.
But those are residential. I'm saying residential agents are all screwed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying the commercial agents are still doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
There's no regulations there whatsoever, or very, very hardly any regulation. So I want to touch on two things about the underwriter, right? So
that's what I was going to ask you. Don't move on from the underwriter. I want you to say something about it. You always keep making me say something about it.
RJ's the bad guy.
Yeah, you have an opinion on this too.
RJ's the bad guy for sure. So I do, sales training. I'm very fortunate where I get to train some of the top operations in the country. And in our calls, I say that stop saying underwriter, and I say it for two reasons. First, I learned from a mentor of mine some time ago, if they have to Google it, you lost a sale, you just didn't know it yet.
Yep.
I don't believe half the country knows what an underwriter is.
No.
So you talk to an older couple, and you say, I have to go talk to underwriting. There's a possibility in their mind of like, who's the underwriter?
Do you know what that sounds like?
I mean, car finance.
Under. I mean, it's the connotation behind it is we're coming in low. Underwriting. Like it. I agree. I think, dude, the majority of this country has no idea what is happening in a real estate transaction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even people that own a home, there's a large percentage of them that don't even know what the word escrow means.
Oh, yes. I did a closer reaction in Naaman Taylor where he said escrow, and it set the seller off because she didn't know what that meant.
Right.
She's like, my escrow is fine, because she's thinking about her PITI escrow account.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I'm going to deposit money into escrow, and
she lost it.
She lost it. And he had to work another 10 minutes to get it to come back.
Right.
And I paused it right there, and I said, stop using language that they don't understand.
Right. So we lose sales.
Yeah.
Saying fancy words. And you and me, underwriting is like a joke word.
Right.
But for a person who's going through duress, whose family is going through bad times, you throw out the word underwriter, they might not know what it means,
Mhm.
right? So you're confusing them. If they're confused, are you more likely or less likely to get a signed contract? Second thing, second thing I say is stop taking ourselves so goddamn serious. Like we buy houses, we're not doctors,
Yeah.
right? Like we're helping a person out of a bad situation, but we are not this image
Yes.
we place upon ourselves. We're not angels coming down from heaven to
Right.
save, to rescue the day. Like we're helping someone out of a bad spot.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe we're doing a good service, but this idea of like we are the finance department or the or loan mortgage originator,
Yeah.
right? Like, and maybe you know there are house buyers that believe that they're more important than that. Like for us, like this is a one-to-one human-to-human interaction, right? You're
That's it.
doing business with me. You're not doing business with Disruptors. You're not doing business with Onward Financial Solutions, Trang Holdings.
Right.
That's not who you're doing business with. You're doing business with Steve.
Yes.
And so when you say underwriter, it's like, who?
My favorite part is it's funny because they're doing business with you.
Right.
They don't even know who you are.
Or your company.
They don't care.
Yeah.
I can't not tell you how many times I've gotten a signed contract. And as we're saying bye, they say, "What's your name again?"
Yeah.
They exactly what you're talking about. Don't take yourself so serious, okay?
Yeah.
They care about one thing. In this process, like, is my need going to be resolved?
Right.
And how quickly are you going to be out of my life?
Right. It's that question we've talked about in the past on Uncertainty Talks, which was like, am I going to be okay? Everyone has this one question in their mind, right? Consciously, subconsciously. Am I going to be okay?
Yeah.
Our job is to deliver the message that you're going to be okay. That's our only job.
So this is why, going back to it, I want to be the shot caller.
Right.
So if I'm on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
in your scenario, am I okay?
Right.
So we have two different scenarios. You want to sell? Yes. How much you want? Okay. What's going on? Okay. I can do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's over. They are confident
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to take care of them.
Right.
They are going to be okay.
Yeah.
The other scenario. How are you doing today? What do you got going on this Memorial Day weekend? Oh, that's awesome. I love going out on the lake too. Now let's talk about real estate. And then they go into how old's the roof? How old's the HVAC? When's the last time you did that? And we're 12 minutes in, and then it's, well, how much would you want for this? Let me see if I can get that approved for you from my underwriter. And then we put them on hold. And then we come back. And then we say, we didn't get you 100,000. We got you 44,000. How's that make you feel? You know?
No one says that.
Well, okay, whatever. Whatever these fake things. But $44,000, and then we put them on hold and we come back and we eventually land on whatever number we feel at. I think you get to a point where it's hard for me to see how some of these scripts work.
Yeah. Well, it takes significantly more practice.
I've yet to see a video where I've watched that script go down and I go, okay, now I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, wow,
It's got no direction.
this is awful.
And the other thing, right, the risk, and it's not a huge risk, but there's risk of them having to do something in the middle of this call, right? Like, hang on, my wife's calling me.
Yeah.
Hang on, there's someone at the door. I think during Close Olympics, like my son's birthday cake's coming out.
Yes, that was insane.
Right? There's phone dying. There's all this risk that the longer the conversation goes, right? If you're face to face, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, right? They're not going to hang up on you while you're in person. But if you're doing this over the phone, this is every minute that goes by, there's some risk of you just losing a sale for something you can't do anything about.
Or you losing the sale or the close because of something you said that you shouldn't have said.
Right.
I mean, going back to the Closers Olympics, we've seen that multiple times where it was like the fish took the hook And then they just decided, no, I'm not going to close this deal. I mean, there have been made up program names. There have been, asking a recovering alcoholic what they were drinking on a holiday weekend. I mean, it's just like, why?
So
Why did we have to ask that?
So there's something funny too, right? Like we talk about, we haven't talked a lot about identity on this episode, but there are some times we've talked about identity, right? And part of your identity is if you learn this really cool tactic and technique, and then you got to use this technique everywhere.
Tactics can be broken.
So like this guy wants a cash offer,
Yeah.
but you want to apply this other cool thing you learned at this event that you paid for.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes gets in the way. Or I saw some guru do this really cool trick on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I want to apply it here. It's like, no, just do one thing that always pisses me off, Steph Curry, right? You walked in, one of my favorite players of all time.
Yep.
Every time he throws behind the back pass, out of bounds, when a simple bounce pass would have sufficed, drives me insane.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what we're alluding to here.
Absolutely. On that note, I love the analogy there with Steph Curry throwing those out because that kind of stuff does kill me. And I tell my son that. My son plays travel hockey, and he loves these fancy plays. But I'm like, that's not what the coach is looking for.
Yeah.
We're looking for the end result,
Mhm.
right? And you talked about these tactics, right? I think the moment that won me the 2023 Closers Olympics was not the close on Sunday. It was the respect that I earned from the judges on my first call with a seller where I could have easily closed it sub 2.
Mhm.
But I told the seller, no, you need to do a short sell. And I connected him to Potter.
Mhm.
And I got him to go through a short sell because that was the right strategy for him. And when everyone asked, why didn't you just close it sub 2? I said, because it wouldn't have cash flowed.
Mhm.
Makes no sense. We're upside down. We have negative equity. And it needs like 30,000 in repairs. Where's that cash going to come from? We're already upside down. And they were like, yeah, but it's Closers Olympics. I mean, you could have just closed it. This is the stigma that Closers Olympics has, is that's what we do. But I said, no, moved it to a short sell, and then went and closed the deal because, yeah, to your point, yeah, I know what sub 2 is. Buy deals sub 2 all the time. Just because you know it doesn't mean it's...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be done.
Yeah.
And then you said somewhere that being a podcast host, you feel helps you become a better closer.
Absolutely. Dude, think about it. You're interviewing me right now, right? You ask me a question. You have no idea how long I'm going to talk.
Right.
You and I both have interviewed people where sometimes, who was it? I interviewed someone, dude. I asked them a question, and I looked up at the clock because I do mine virtually, so I've got a little clock that I can look at. 18 minutes in, I still had not asked the second question. I mean, 18 minutes of just talking. Here's the thing. Do you know how many times my second question changed? Where I was like, okay, I've got my follow-up question. And it's like, we're still going. We're on a different topic now. Change. So as a podcast host, you ask a question. You have to listen to what your guest responds, anticipate when they're going to stop talking, and then have a follow-up question or decide to change the topic, right? Yeah. And a lot of times, as a podcast host, it's more important to continue the conversation on that topic than changing it. Because if you change it, then it can be awkward, especially for the audience, where they're like, "No, I wanted to hear more about what they were talking about right there."
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with closing deals. Right. You ask a question to a seller starts responding to you, starts telling you about pain and motivation. You're looking at your script and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm supposed to ask about how old's your roof?" And the seller's like, "That's fucking awkward," like, what? It's 5 years old, and it completely kills the close. You build that skill through podcasting. It's one of the best things that I've ever done was become a podcast host, just with the ability to listen and decide what my next question is going to be from listening.
Yeah, Darren Bentley posted on Facebook the other day, and he said that the secret to running a good podcast is to forget about your agenda, forget about the likes, the follows, and this and that, and only focus on the audience,
Yep.
which we can't see,
It's hard.
right? But only focus on the audience. But that's something that I can say for sure. My focus has always been like, I've had a script. You give me crap for having a script, right? But it's RJ's talking. I need to follow up with whatever RJ said in a manner that the audience will appreciate it.
Yep.
Right. So those are the things I have to do during the show. But in an appointment, homeowner's talking, I'm listening, and I need to ask a follow-up question that will affect the audience, in this case, the homeowner, in a manner I would like for them to be affected.
Right.
So,
and hopefully move you closer to the result that you want in that scenario, right? With the homeowner, which a lot of times that's the tricky part. You could do something that makes the homeowner feel warm and fuzzy and react positively, but it ain't moving you any closer to the result that you want.
right.
And I personally, that's why I actually enjoy not doing belly-to-belly appointments anymore because of that.
Yeah.
There are so many times where you sit down in the living room and you're 3 minutes in and you're like, I ain't going to be home for dinner tonight. It's over. You know, this person's just going to tell me the whole life story, and I don't think this is leading to a closed deal.
You stick around?
Yeah. I mean, well, how do you pull away from that?
I got to go take care of my kids tonight. My wife's got yoga.
Yeah.
She's got, was it Zumba? Is that the thing? What is that
Did
thing?
you say yodel?
Yoga or Zumba, somewhat, whatever. Right? My wife's got things. I got to go home so I can get
My wife's got things.
Yeah.
There you go.
I told her I'd be home by 8:45.
Ultimate pull away right there.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's something that we've done. Like, even on the phone, it's like they'll go on and on and on. I was like, I apologize. Like, I'm supposed to take my daughter to piano tonight.
Right.
So can we just get back on track?
Can you accept my offer?
We're just gonna get back on the agenda, right?
Right.
Like the way I've gotten people back on agenda. One is like, can you slow down? You're going kind of fast. I'm writing this all down. Or then they'll stop, and then once they stop talking, they don't ask my follow-up question. That's my first go-to.
Right.
Second go-to is like, here's the thing. I'm not trying to be rude here. Like, I'm gonna take my kids to piano lessons tonight.
Right.
Can we
Can I
get
ask
back
you
on
a
track?
question about the belly-to-belly appointments?
Yeah.
So we have a couple of community members that have come in with heavy accents or are it's very obvious that they are, different ethnicity, right? With you doing belly-to-belly appointments, has it ever been beneficial or not beneficial that you're Asian?
I have never noticed a difference.
Really?
I've had colleagues that have said that it's been harder to refer business to me because I'm Asian, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. But I've never walked into the appointment and was like, oh, they don't like me because I'm Asian. The things that I've said, right? This is definitely not politically correct. But being Asian, like, I get the benefit of being a minority and like a white person.
Right.
Right. It's like,
Right.
they're not going to, the joke I made is like, when the police officer pulls me over, he probably thinks I'm speeding to go to like class. Right? Like back in the day. Right. It's never like he's up to no good.
Right.
Like, he's probably on the way to class to study.
Right.
Right. And so like I got that benefit. So like I've never seen or I've never felt like I've gotten any kind of discrimination at the appointment.
I would say, the reason why I asked is because I've had people say that they're worried about their accent because they're closing all on the phone, right?
I gotta say, it's harder to close over the phone with an accent than in person.
I told them to lean into it. I said, for me, it's not necessarily a bad thing unless you make it out to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You can more push into the fact that, there's power behind the fact that you're not just like, I don't really have anything to lean into, right? I'm kind of the prototypical, I'm a white male, and sometimes that is used against me. I will say that there have been times where there's certain neighborhoods that, they did not want to sell to a white male.
Yeah.
That was the case.
I mean, you're going to gentrify it, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And then literally that's what they've said.
Yeah. I would say that anyone that has that concern, again, like you said, just lean into it.
Yeah.
Just be yourself, because is like we said a moment ago, they don't care about us.
Yeah.
They care about whether you can solve their problems.
If that's an issue, then they're probably not the right seller for you.
Right. They're not motivated enough.
Right. Because reality of it is if they're super motivated, they don't care who buys their house.
Right. And that's my belief as well. Right.
Yeah.
The joke we've made is that, if you were T-boned, right, leaving your office, and you wake up, you can't see anything at the moment. All you know is your shirt's wet and you smell a lot of iron, right? Your vision starts coming back, and this EMT is just like banging on your window for you to open the door. Are you gonna ask where he went to college?
No.
No. Are you going to ask him which ER you're gonna go to? Are you gonna ask him for the Yelp reviews on that emergency room?
Yeah, no.
No,
Yeah.
right? Get me fixed now. I don't care who you are,
Right.
who you're with. I want to get fixed.
I don't even
now.
care if it's an EMT. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's just a person, like,
Right.
get me out of here.
Yeah, right. So I think the concern about the accent, to your point, if they're motivated enough, it's completely irrelevant, and that's who we target. We target motivated owners. So then the last thing I want to ask you about is, so hopefully you guys got value here, talking about the different sales styles, or how similar or how different, however you guys want to look at it. You're going really hard on organic right now.
Yep.
While I am going less organic right now. So talk to me about your plans as far as organic content.
Yeah, so for me, man, it's about leaning into the momentum that we generated with the 50-day challenge. And also kind of me playing the role that I need to be playing with my team. We did the 50-day challenge. We finished up. We did our last ever crucible. And at that crucible, Nick Robbins attended. And he was sitting in the back. First break, he comes running up to me. He's like, hey, I've got to ask you questions. And normally that's like the most annoying guy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, what do you got? I just got done talking for 2 hours. I'd like to go pee and like take a break, but okay. And I could tell that there was an energy about the way that he was asking questions and about what was going on. And we kind of hit it off. We started talking over the next 2 days. And it was just one of those, like, I talk about embracing moments. And I said, hey, let's have a Zoom call next week. And I want to talk to you more about what you got going on in your business. And we hop on a Zoom call, and right behind him is his 2 Comma Club ClickFunnels Award, followed with like several other ClickFunnel awards. And I'm like, okay, this is a good guy to be talking to. And I was like, so you said you ran a marketing agency. This is a big need that I have for my education program. And we decided to do some work together. And it kind of really started gaining a ton of momentum about October of last year. Just everything that we started doing started working. And the more organic content that I push out there, the more eyeballs that are on us, the more people we have coming back saying, I want to be with that guy. I want to be with the guy that did, this live or that video, or he made fun of Steve Trang on a Between Two Belts episode, or whatever it is. The more personality that I can put out there, the more that people know who they're signing up to join the community, the better. And really, when we went to family, it goes back to that family mastermind in September. Pace Morby talking about no one will outwork me. I'm a cleaner. Like, fuck you, Pace. I can outwork you. Like, my engine doesn't ever stop. I'll go live for 50 days for 8 hours. He can only go live for 26 hours straight. I beat you in 1 week. So for me, it was about, all right, every single day of the year, it's a TV show. There's something coming out. And to impact as many lives as possible, man. I mean, I know that what we do works. I know that what we do works the right way. And we see that not only with our results, but we also see it with people like you and Jerry Norton and Robert Winsley that come to us, people that I looked up to and I respected. And now you guys are like kind of starting to give kudos to us where it's like, hey, you guys have been working on this for a while now. It's like you said, like, dude, it's kind of cool. This is the third time I've been back here. And you're like, the first time it was kind of like, okay, you're this flipper in like 5 different states. Then it was like, okay, you want to close your Olympics. And now it's like, okay, so not only multiple close your Olympics, but now it's the brand and you're starting to impact other people. And we transitioned from this loose cannon where it's like, just Google me to now there's a process, right? And I want to run with that. And I want to help as many people as possible.
Could you do the same thing with paid marketing with Nick?
Well, the paid marketing is happening.
Right.
So my job is to be the organic machine. His job is to be the paid marketing machine. So we got the paid marketing running. It's my job just to be me. Yeah. That's my job. My job is to come do this. My job is to do deals live. And the reason why is because the proof of concept, right? I mean, no one can ever take away what we do by doing it live. Yeah. By the way, did you see our boy Strat Daddy going to do a challenge?
Yeah. I'm going to be.
So he talked to you? Wow.
Yeah. Well, he needed someone that could help him close. And
this is awesome. You know, he gave me a shout out on the post on Facebook, and he didn't even call me.
I called him about some gossipy stuff. Yeah. So I reached out to him.
That's how it happened?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I saw him in person.
Yeah.
Like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was his event, dude. They did great. I love those guys.
I was looking for the Trump shoes.
Yeah.
On stage. Yeah. I did not see you wearing you were not rocking Trump shoes.
They haven't showed up yet.
Or they're the 45s with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not see you wearing the 45s.
Yeah. We just went with the J's. They haven't come in yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, how was that event?
Oh, dude, it was awesome. Great guys. I saw you were going to be on WealthCon.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, prepare yourself. Okay. I know you did Max Maxwell's event.
Long time ago.
Yeah. But I'm just letting you know, I don't know what lights they have at WealthCon, but you will not be able to see for a week. Okay. When I walked out there, if you have nerves, do you still get nerves?
No.
Me either.
Yeah.
But you will not have any nerves because you do not know the size of the crowd. And I'm wearing a hat. I walked out there, dude. They were the brightest lights I've ever seen before. Literally, I mean, it was unbelievable.
It's in Vegas, right?
Yes.
So I can wear my poker glasses.
But no, I'm excited for you, man. WealthCon, that was an awesome event. I think if anybody is looking for a great event to attend real estate wise and have that motivation, I got to see Tim Grover, Neil Patel. Obviously for me, it was amazing because of Tim Grover and the Relentless book. But Ryan puts on a hell of an event, man. I think that's going to be an awesome opportunity for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There were some people on there. I was like, wow, that person's going to be at the event? Yeah. It's insane, like the network he's created.
I know. Yeah, it was hilarious. At one point in time, Ryan comes up to me and he's like, have you met so-and-so? And I was like, no. And he's like, he's a billionaire. You should probably meet him. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not every day you have someone telling you to like go shake a billionaire's hand.
Yeah. Ryan's done remarkable things. He's going to be coming on here, I want to say about a month from now. Yeah. We're going to be doing a rebrand. He's going to be part of it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
You're doing a rebrand?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me? Wow.
Can't say it during the show. It'll ruin the.
What? Well, you just said it.
It's going to be a rebrand, right? It's going to be Titanium Disruptors. Don't want to ruin a surprise for you.
So does this mean I'm going to be like one of the last episodes?
We'll figure this out.
Man.
You're going to get canceled 3 times.
This means I'm Dude, if you made me the last episode, that would be one. I will literally make me a belt that says the Cancel King.
So, but yeah, that's exciting. You know, doing the WealthCon thing with Ryan. He just posted that. I didn't even know that was going to get posted, and it's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was 2,000.
Yeah.
It was 2,000 strong.
I think I could see like the first 3 rows when I was at Maxwell's event.
Yeah. You won't even know there's people.
All right.
You just walked out, and I was like, I hope I'm walking in the right direction.
Hopefully, you can see at least where the ledge is. And,
yeah, right.
Yeah. Or the edge of the stage. All right. So, man, like I think we got to cover a lot of ground. I hope that everyone that's watching, listening, right, got a ton of value, different perspective. I mean, it's always great to talk to someone else that's, you know, legitimately closing deals and their actual strategies and perspective, because there's a lot of stuff out there, and I don't agree with all of it. And I love having you on because I agree with everything you're
specifically
talking
fake underwriters.
Everything you're talking about. I agree with everything you're talking about. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Steve Trang. Jump on the Steve Trang. We real estate disruptors.